Hey everybody, this is a quick message to get you prepared for your advising session. Please watch the whole video and maybe follow up on some of the things I'm going to be talking about before you meet with me or whoever your advisor is going to be. I'm primarily talking to fine art or studio art majors, graphic design majors, and digital media arts majors. I'm mostly going to be, I think, covering the graphic design curriculum here, but please remember that the same things I'm saying apply to studio art or digital media arts. You just need to find your list of classes. Okay, so you probably have seen something like this at some point, either from me or once you were thinking about coming to Reinhardt. This is the Bachelor of Fine Arts Digital Art and Graphic Design degree. It changes now and then, but this is the newest version that we have, and that's the one that you're going to want to go by. If there's a newer one, if you're seeing this video in the future and there's a newer one, always look up the catalog year so that you can go by that. But for now, this will work for you. So basically, not to get ahead of myself, there's a couple things that you need to think about. You've probably also seen this. This is the full degree plan for your art degree, and also what's called the general education curriculum, or we say Gen Ed. Notice that you take 48 to 49 hours of that, and that is all the classes basically that do not count towards your major. Those are the classes that everybody at Reinhardt is taking. If you look down that list, you've probably already taken some of these classes. Most students start out with English 101, Com 108, then maybe another English class, fine arts experience, and on and on. This is the part that's a little bit more tricky, so we're going to get to that in a second. This is probably where you want to start when you're looking at classes. You want to start with the art or graphic design or DMA. And the reason for that is because there may not be as many offerings of a drawing class as there are of science. So go ahead and look up the classes that you may want to start with that may or may not be offered on this list. And then again, that's the studio art that you can see. And here is the graphic design degree. And in the 4 years or 5 years or however long it takes you to graduate, you're going to go ahead and check off these classes as you take them, right? Don't worry too much about what's in the foundation or the core. That you can take most of these classes at any time except for your capstone classes. You take those when you're a senior, okay? But if you want to take water media or watercolor class before you take advanced drawing, that's perfectly fine. Don't let the numbers throw you off too much. In fact, I have a lot of freshmen that take Digital Art 1 or 2, and you can even take those particular classes in any order as well. So start with that and see what's available for the fall or spring, whichever the year that or semester that you're coming up with here as you're watching this video. And most students want to take 15 hours. 15 hours will get you on time graduating in 4 years. 12 hours, 12 hours is considered full time, so keep that in mind. You don't want to go under that, especially if you're on scholarship or if you're playing a sport. So once you've got the classes figured out that you want to work with over here, you want to think about taking the Gen Ed. I usually tell people to take 1, 2, or maybe even 3 art classes and then save the other spots for Gen Ed. And how you order that is up to you. There's not a one particular balance that you have to find, okay? So some of these at the top are pretty self-explanatory. English 101. Once you get into the critical thinking, not too difficult. You can see that you need to take your first year seminar. Most likely, if you're watching this video, you've already taken that. Your Math 102, the biologies, or I should say the sciences. One of those has to have a lab attached to it as you take the class. And then you've got your other options, but you're not going to be able to avoid a science class with a lab, be that biology or let's see, another one that's popular is astronomy. A lot of students take that, or chemistry. Okay, now you're probably thinking, how do I look these classes up? Well, you want to go to Reinhardt's website, reinhardt.edu. The internet's moving a little slow. The way that I do it is to go to faculty and staff. There might be a student option for you. And then EagleWeb. That's probably a faster way to get to EagleWeb. So, of course, you can also log in, username and password. But you don't even have to log in to see the classes, actually. So get to this home page, and you can use the guest course search. And make sure that you look for the year. So we're looking for fall 2023 in this particular case. And you can type in the course code. This is the way I do it when I advise. Type in the course code for what you want. You can go by faculty last name. Like if you type Davison, all my classes are going to come up. But the easiest thing to do is the course code. So I'm going to type in English. And then check this out. Every English class that's taught comes up. Very, very helpful. And that way you're not looking for a particular section or anything like that. You're just kind of perusing and seeing what's available. Okay, so all my compositions are up here. And you've got the times. And it does also tell you the teacher. And then you want to find sort of come up with a balanced schedule. Don't stack all your classes on Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you can balance that out. When you go to see your advisor, if that's me, also tell them ahead of time if you're playing a sport. Okay? Because I know that can impinge upon the times that you can take if you've got practice in the afternoon. Your advisor needs to know that. You can't take classes after 2 o'clock or something like that. Okay? So I got all my classes here. And then if I want to look up art, I can see what's available there. Okay, got all our art classes here. So you can see not all the art classes were offered. Some of these are in the fall or spring. For instance, Digital Art 1 tends to be a fall only class. And then the second section, Digital Art 2, Art 309, is in the spring. Okay? If you're a senior and you're up against graduation and that class that you need is not offered, you can talk with me or, again, whoever your advisor is, and they can tell you maybe course substitution is an option or a directed study or even an independent study. I'm not going to get into what those things are, but there are options for you. So I usually tell seniors, if you get into that situation, don't panic because we can help you out with that. Okay? So that's pretty much a way to do it. Look up your courses. Pretty easy, right? Another thing that I really want to emphasize with you guys is here's another expanded view of the Gen Ed curriculum. This is the part that tends to throw the students off. They can handle the major, right? Your art classes. You get into the knowledge of self, society, and culture. You're going to need 18 hours of that. Again, while you're here over the 4 or 5 years or however long it takes you to graduate. It can be a little bit confusing. It's not that hard once you figure the system out. And you need to see that you've got to take the 6 classes, but in addition to those 6 classes, you've got to have an English, a couple histories, a religion, and then on top of that, one of these needs to be designated global studies, and usually the course has a GS beside it, and I'm going to show you that. All right, and it says see the academic catalog for the full options list, and that's exactly what we're going to do next. I'm going to show you how to find that and navigate this slightly tricky setup that we have here. Again, this is knowledge, self, society, and culture. Okay. So what you want to do, I found the easiest thing to do is to actually go to our old friend Google. Okay, there's probably an easier way to get to it, but the reason I'm doing it this way is because websites change, right? Reinhardt's website could possibly change. So let's just do Reinhardt. You can tell I've already looked for it. Reinhardt University Academic Catalog. It's going to take us to Academic Catalog. So we just click the very first link that comes up. And then we're going to look for 2022, 2023, the newest catalog. If you're looking at this video in the future, look for the most updated year. I'm going to click that. The entire catalog is now right here. You are an undergraduate. So this is your academic catalog, and you can scroll through, and the table of contents will tell you where to go. I'm going to save you the trouble, and I'm going to tell you that what you're going to want to look for, here's the magic page number, page 60. Okay, I just typed it in. Of the 338 pages, page 60. So I click that, and voila, the page number 4 does not correlate to the page number that we've got looking through the catalog. Okay, so here we go. We've got the Gen Ed options, and this is just what we were talking about. All those classes that you're going to need are under here. Communication domain, all your arts experience, your sciences that we know that we need, and then the part that tends to be the most confusing, which I already referenced, the knowledge of self, society, culture, and domain. You're going to need 6 of those courses, as we said. One's got to be religion, one's got to be English, and one's got to be, or 2 actually have to be history. And then one of those has to be labeled the Global Studies, which is GS. Notice those classes have the GS beside it. Most people take the foreign language or world studies of some sort. But you've got all these different options that are under here. Global social problems being one of them. But there are many that you can choose from. Okay, if you don't want to take foreign language, you can take something else instead. So here we go. You can go through this list. I do want to warn you that all of these classes are not offered, right? So if you find History 320, 19th Century Europe, oh, I love that subject, I want to take that class. Well, it's most likely not going to be offered. So what you need to do, look for the classes that are offered. Go through, I already showed you how to just look up the English. Look up type in the course code ENG on the guest course, okay? ENG, we're going to search for that. And let's find one that is offered, okay? English 223, American Literature, Tuesday, Thursday, 2 o'clock. Let's go over here. Do we need that class? I've already forgotten the number. What was it? 223. Okay. 223, American Lit, 1. There it is. And we need that class. It's under our knowledge, self, society, and culture domain. It knocks out one of those English classes that you know you need when we go back to our curriculum. And there we go. You probably, I always email out to my advisees this material. You might want to print it out and do the same thing that I'm going to do when I meet with you, or your advisor should be doing when they meet with you, and that's actually to write down that class. So the one thing we want to avoid during your time here is to double up on classes that you don't need. If that ever happens, that's okay, because the third thing besides your major and your Gen Ed requirements is electives. And you've got like 20 or 20 something electives that you need, hours I mean. And so that can fall to that, okay? But if you're like me, I would want to streamline it as much as I could and take the classes that I need first and foremost. And so again, we looked up English. It was under that course catalog note, and then we can go through and do the same thing with the history, okay? You can probably look at this list and figure out which classes are offered the most. English 304, Milton in the 17th century, or Shakespeare, great classes, not offered that much, right? Not as frequently as we wish we could. That's just the reality of it. So look for those American Lit, British Lits, and then the same thing goes for your history classes. You want to look up, when you get to the history part, most likely your world histories are going to be offered. And then, occasionally a Georgia history or something like that. But it just takes a little bit of time, and I'm going to help you with that. But if you can do this research yourself and look those classes up, first and foremost, they're going to get you a little bit ahead of the game. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And I'm going to, like I said, make sure you check your email attachments from me if I'm your advisor, because I'm going to attach some of this information to you and get you started ahead of time. The more that you can do for me or your advisor, the faster the whole process is going to go, right? And it offers you more freedom because you may have your advising session with me and then decide later, well, Jim and I talked about this one class, but I don't think I really want it. Maybe I don't want to partake it at that time. Maybe my coach told me that wasn't good. And then rather than coming back to me, you can look this up yourself. And then you can always shoot me an email and I can double check to make sure that everything is lined up for you. Okay? So best of luck. It's not a complicated process, but it does require a little bit of legwork in terms of just especially looking at your gen ed over here and finding out what fits in these particular spots. And then we will go from there. Thank you guys so much, and best of luck this week.